Hey, hey. Trust that everyone is having a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I wanted to share this moment that I had on Monday. And it's like a testimony to just flowing, right? And just allowing yourself to be led. And we didn't have class. Of course, we homeschooled, so the campus was closed for President's Day, right? So I decided to get up to go for a walk. And as I was walking, I was flowing. And there's 3 parks that are around us that are close, right? So my intention was just to walk around the block. And then my spirit said, nah, just keep going. Excuse me. So when I got to the one street where the park was at, one of the parks, right? I said, no, just keep going. So I pushed myself to walk to the rec center. Rec center is about probably a mile or 2 away. And so I walked to the rec center. Not quite to the rec center. I was walking to the park. And I was like, okay, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to meditate. So I found a tree. I saw a tree that called out to me. And I walked to the tree, but then something said, go to the rec center. So then I go to the rec center. They're closed. And they still don't open for about like 40 minutes. And there was one door that was open, and this gentleman, he was like, yo, let's go in. The only thing they could do is tell us, that we gotta leave. So as soon as we walk in there, getting to the rec center, I had the thought, okay, I can get some information of the classes and stuff that they have for me and my family. So the guy wouldn't even give me a pamphlet. And he's like, no, we're closed. I can't give you anything until we open. And I'm like, first of all, that frustrated me because I'm like, yo, you could have just handed me a pamphlet, but whatever. So as I was getting ready to walk away, there was this tree, and it was a tree full of black recluse, and it was quiet, but then they just started just going. And I was like, should I stay and wait until they open? Because of course I'm mad at this moment, because I'm like, you could have just gave me, the information. So I'm like, man, forget them. I ain't coming back up here. I was in that energy, right? So then I stopped and I'm listening. I'm like, are y'all telling me to stay? And I was like, man, forget it. I'm gonna just go and meditate. So I walk across the street, and the guy that was like, yo, let's walk in, he went in to go, he just wanted to fill up his water bottle. Okay. But as I'm getting ready to walk, he starts playing the guitar. And I hear, I remember when I lost my mind. And I was like, so am I supposed to stay? So walking away, I stop and I sit at the bleachers, and then I sit there and I listen to him play. Beautiful voice. He's doing an acoustic version of Crazy. He slowed it down. He's flowing. And next thing you know, I just start bawling. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, why am I crying? So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, okay, evidently I needed to release that. Don't know what that's about. I'm not stressed. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I feel like I'm in a really good space, so I didn't understand why that was happening. So as soon as he get done, I was like, what? Like, if you know me, like, I'm gonna give praise where praise is due. So I just was like, whoa, and I'm clapping. I'm like, that was fucking awesome. And so he starts laughing. He says, thank you. So then he started playing another song. And so I'm playing double dutch. I'm like, should I go over there? So what I do, Spirit leads me over there. And I go and sit at the table that he's at. And I was like, I sure hope he, didn't want space. So as he's singing, like, I'm going to town, I'm balling. And he finishes the next song. He does a song by Jelly Roll, and powerful lyrics, right? Seems like it's depressing, right? But it's like, yo, we've all been at that space of, you know what I'm saying, not feeling whole, not feeling complete, feeling like, you know, you were at your wit's end, like you don't know what to do next. And so I sit there and he's like, are you okay? You know what I'm saying? You good? I'm like, I don't even know why I'm crying, right? So then he's like, well, I mean, I'm a great listener. If you want, you know, you could just express. And I take a moment, I breathe. And then next you know, he just starts going. He just starts talking. And in between us talking, like he's playing live songs in front. And I love live music. So as he's doing his thing, I'm just like, I felt like it was a therapy session for me. And in hindsight, as he starts talking, I'm like, oh, you the one who need a therapy session. So it's crazy because we're bouncing ideas, we're talking. I sat there for like an hour and a half with this guy, having a full-blown conversation, right? And it just goes to show, like, it was healing for both of us to be able to have conversation like with the stranger and have unbiased, unjudgmental, like real, pure dialogue. And I explained all of that, of course, to show like you gotta follow the promptings. Don't follow the nudges, follow the breadcrumbs. And had I not walked all the way up to the rec center, I wouldn't have had that meaningful experience with somebody that I don't even know. And it's crazy because I remember I had told him, I was like, before I started yelling, I was like, yo, I hope he don't think I'm crazy because I'm cheering him on. But it's amazing how, because we've become so accustomed to looking and observing with our eyes that we don't allow ourselves to observe with our hearts and our mind, with that balanced space, right? Because sometimes leaning into one or the other can cause you, it could cause, you know, some turmoil. It could cause you to be in that mental jail. It could cause you to close your heart space. But when we are able to really see and to feel with our mind's eye, right, and to use our intuition and to tap into being balanced between our mind and our hearts, we'll see that, like, there is so much beauty out here in people, in places, and in things. But of course, we look with our physical eyes and then we don't allow ourselves to really hear or feel what is being said. And I have been a slave to that by just judging or shutting down, you know, situations or conversations based off me looking at a person and me judging. But again, this guy is a guy that is going through so much, but he's still able to keep his heart open and to not close himself down. Man, we talked about so many different topics. We were just bing. Next you know, he pulled out the Bible. He's like, yo, something you said just reminded me of this. And I'm like, yo, that reminds me of this. And again, just beautiful conversation, just based off of just being open. And had I not decided to continue to listen and to be, like I told him, there was an elder in his group that I was in, and she said, it is better to be obedient than to sacrifice. Because when you are obedient and when you are listening, you will see that there is no real sacrifice, right? And knowing that we have to change the terms of how we think about things and how we talk about things, and realizing that I feel like when most people use the word sacrifice is because there is a heavy attachment to those things that they feel they have to release and let go. But when you allow yourself to be led and you allow yourself to just flow. Like, you realize that I tell my scholars today that one of the things that I wish that I had known when I was younger, somebody would have planted a seed in me, is knowing that with every ending, it's not the end all be all. Those endings make space for those new things that are coming in, right? And of course we have this void period where sometimes we don't know, you know what I'm saying, what is going to happen. We're leaning into the unknown, right? But the beauty of it is knowing that when something ends, something is going to begin again. Nature shows that. And if we were to be stewards, continue to be stewards of nature and students of nature and follow nature and align with the comedic principles of life and release the aesthetic mindset and the aesthetic indoctrine, that we will see that we are able to live in a balanced space, to be able to balance the mind and the heart, to make conscious decisions, and to be able to really feel. And that's what a lot of us are missing, that balance. So we're able to feel. Because there's so many people out here that are cold, and you're not able to make wise decisions and choices, right? Because you're blocking yourself from being able to really feel. And all of that flows with just allowing yourself to trust in the unknown and allow yourself to be led, and stop resisting the current. Flow with the current. Stop resisting. Stop trying to fight it. It's like when teaching my children how to swim, I say, when you panic and you fight it, you drown. Learning when to float and to release and to relax. But there's so much that came up, so much inspiration that came up from me allowing myself to be led and to have my heart open and to have a conversation with a complete stranger. So we never know, we be so focused on the messenger that we will miss the message. So allow yourself to be open to receiving messages that you need, regardless of what the person looked like. A lot of us are so hung up on these things to keep us separated that those are the very things that are going to accelerate our growth. So, that was my spiel for today. Trusting that you will create the balance within yourself, the security within yourself, the trust within yourself, build that foundation with yourself so you're able to have that beautiful relationship with following your spirit, where your soul is leading you to. So with that being said, I love you all. Peace.